All right. What is good, everybody? What's good? Hello, hello. Welcome on in. Happy to have you here. What's good, Granny Bat Tinnitus? What's good, E.T. Neitzel? Hot Rodsman? Understandable who's left to say anything. I mean, there are 400 plus devs left to say something. Fortunately, they didn't say anything yesterday. Marathon had 7,000 players. Oh, no. No. Why Marathon? Why? The most cursed game of all time. I swear this game, dude. It had 7,077 on Bungie Day. Isn't that crazy? What a weird number, huh? GTA Barber has gifted a sub. W's in the chat for GTA Barber. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. You're too kind. You're too kind. Thank you, GTA Barber. Thank you. Appreciate you. I wonder who's running the Bungie store now? The janitor. The janitor is running the Bungie store now. Let's go. What's good, Tony Hayabusa? What's good? Hey, Centipede. Hey, Andrewy. Twiggy. What's up? All right, we're getting started on our first news story of the day in just a moment. Before I do so, make sure to type something in the chat. I'll give you a shout out. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you to the notification gang for tuning in today. We got a spicy day today. As always, we are covering all the gaming news. There's a lot going on out there in the gaming world. All right, here we go. It is time. Yep, the drops for watching the stream and gifting a sub, you get 2 separate drops. Make sure you do so, and we have them on a rotation, so anytime you come by the stream, any day, there will be different drops on. Let's go to Hemlock. All right. Bungie's silence on Bungie Day is deafening. Normally, when Bungie Day comes around, which is July 7th of every year, there is a massive celebration, a community-wide party that's being thrown where we get to partake in some happy times, right? Some good moments. And this has, for many, many years, been a tradition for Bungie. But of course, in recent years, things have been getting really bad. So bad to the point where we've had multiple rounds of layoffs. There's just, one game left, one team left. Even Jason Jones has left, who's literally the founder of Bungie. Like, it doesn't get any worse than that. The guy's been there since day one for like 30 plus years. No celebration at all for Destiny 2, of course, which is, it's kind of understood because of the end of service, but also no celebration at all for Marathon, which this is their first ever Bungie Day, right? They got nothing. They got no mention or anything like that. And throughout the years in the Halo era, during 2004 to 2010, you would get during Bungie Day exclusive armor or player emblems, new screenshots and wallpapers, community spotlights would drop, developer QAs, double XP playlists. You had special matchmaking events, Halo service updates, and there's various different Bungie.net features. One of the biggest ones of all time was in 2007, which lines up pretty perfectly, right? 777. When Bungie heavily marketed and celebrated Halo 3, fans received new trailers, information, merchandise, and special community events, right? That was a big day. Were you there? Bungie Day, 2007. Then, of course, things shifted for Bungie Day in 2014 to 2019 as they were no longer working on Halo. It was instead a celebration within Destiny. We've seen emblems, community challenges, charity drives, merchandise sales, Bungie store discounts, developer live streams, Destiny artwork, and cosplay showcases, all on Bungie Day. Not one single post this last Bungie Day. Nothing. Not one thing across the social media. That's brutal, right? And it obviously shows that, you know, it ain't going to go on for much longer. This is probably their last Bungie Day ever, if you can even call it that, right? It doesn't really feel like a Bungie Day when there's literally no celebration. The only ironic part about any of this is that literally Marathon hit its 24-hour player peak, and look at the numbers. Oh, dude, you can't make this shit up. 7,077 people played Marathon on Bungie Day. That's crazy. I'm telling you, you can't make this up. Oh, man. It's obviously going pretty bad for Marathon. This is their last game. Like, they had 2 games. They were a multi-IP studio for all but 2 months before they had to shut down Destiny 2. And now they're looking for new higher up positions. I don't know who's got laid off or who's getting replaced, but they're picking up a big position here. Someone's getting paid $250,000 a year to be the UI director on Marathon. This was recently a listing posted on their hiring page. Bungie is still hiring for Marathon after the layoffs, and the position has a salary range of $222,000 to $258,000 per year. Dude, I'm saying with that kind of money, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? I'll do the job. I may not be qualified. Okay. My resume might read, you know, trials carries and Crota carries, but I'll apply anyways. Okay. Maybe I can apply to be the new CEO. Is that an option to me? I mean, Portia Torkin hasn't said anything, so clearly he doesn't want the job. A new job listing shows Bungie is looking for a UI director to lead the design and overall user experience for Marathon. What happened to their former UI director? Where did he go? Did he get laid off? Like, what happened? I'm so confused. Why did they suddenly need one now? Now you need one? The role includes setting the UI vision, managing the team, and working with other directors to improve the game's player experience. It's brutal, man. It's brutal. When it rains, it pours. Per year makes it sound like they will have a job for multiple years. Oh, no. That is brutal. Oh, you just had to go there, dude. Per year. They should have listed as per month, right? Per 2-week pay cycle. Obviously, it ain't going to go on for much longer. I don't know what Marathon's contingency plan is right now, right? Like, they were planning to launch the game and then give people some time to warm up to it, perhaps. You know, maybe you'll come around. Hey, you never know. Maybe you'll be a runner pretty soon here. Probably not, but that's their game plan, right? Give people some time to work through the issues, the frustrations of maybe Destiny dying, and maybe give this, you know, Marathon thing a try, see if they like it. It ain't sticking too well, right? Destiny players are bleeding out, if you don't know. We were absolutely crushing it in the player population charts, but like all things, everything is going to fizzle out eventually, especially when you have no live updates. We've gone from 167,000 players and we've gone down to 83,000. So basically a 50% loss in player population. 50% of the people that logged in for the final update had their fun, did their thing, and then they left. And if you go look at Marathon's 1 month, they absolutely did not go and play Marathon afterwards. Like, dear God, not one Destiny player said, you know what? I'm going to go play Marathon now, it would seem. So it's brutal, right? The Destiny players, they're done with Destiny, of course. Like, people have played the Pantheon. You've gotten your builds. You grind your god. There's still a lot to do. You probably haven't done everything, but maybe you've had your fill and you've decided to dip out for now. And presumably most of them are not playing Marathon, it would seem. So that has not happened. That psyop that was meant to be created where let's kill Destiny 2 and let's hope that all those players will just like jump ship and play our new game. That did not work out. That did not land well. And they are going to be doing a new PvE only mode in the game. And I think the intent of that is to kind of lure the Destiny players over a little bit. We'll see if it lands. We'll see if it's anything interesting. I mean, this is basically their last hope, right? Like if this PvE event that goes live in like 2 weeks from now doesn't land well, then it is truly finito for them. Like it is just this is the last thing they're going to possibly even get. They've already announced season 3, 4, and 5. However, with the current population charts for the game, it ain't looking like you're going to make it that far, dog. Like you're probably not going to make it that far. Let's be real. We previously covered this in a video too, where this video absolutely killed me, dude. Now the Marathon players are turning against Steam database. They're saying that it's a worldwide conspiracy theory that the charts are not accurate. That surely more people are playing than 6,000 people. And honestly, that's just fucking jokes, dude. That's so funny to me. I can't stop laughing about that. Not to mention, you got other people crashing out here saying Marathon is not going to die, and here's why. And sorry, this post was deleted by the person who originally posted it. Oh, no. So bad, dude. So bad. But yeah, I wanted to bring you an update on Bungie Day because I kind of thought something would happen. I mean, it's your day after all. Like it's literally the big special day. Maybe they tried to. I mean, Marathon is still a continuing live service game, guys. Like I understand some of you will say, lucky. They just had layoffs. Like, come on, give it a rest, brother. You know what I'm saying? Just chill, take it easy on them. Like we need to understand Marathon is meant to be promoted and marketed as much as possible right now. This is their only game. This game has to sustain a studio of 400 people that's churning through $6 million a month on average. Like, there should have been something for Bungie Day for Marathon, at least. Now, of course, the Destiny 2 players, we would have been salty, right? We would have thrown tomatoes just like we're throwing tomatoes at Pete Parsons. Did they get his ass? Is Pete Carson's gone? What happened to Pete Carson's? They got his ass. They got him. No. That's brutal. They got my boy. That's insane, dude. They took down Pete Carson's game. This was an entire game that was created to literally chuck tomatoes at Pete Parsons, right? For all the BS that happened. And that got shut down. They launched it on Bungie Day. This was the most exciting and interesting thing for Bungie Day, and they took it down. The website's still up, though. That's what I'm talking about, baby. The website is still up. That's crazy. But the people obviously so frustrated that created this, and this is truly the magnum opus to Bungie. And this is the final memory of them is hurling tomatoes at the final raid boss, which is Pete Parsons and his insane car collection. Actually incredible. And actually sad that there was nothing for Bungie Day for Marathon, which just shows you, like, I'm trying to give you a clear picture of what's happening here. Marathon is dead. You play it if you want, if you've already bought it, right? Play it, have fun, because it's not good. The lights are not going to be on too much longer. Like, that game is dead. There is no hope that even on Bungie Day they don't do anything for the game, their only game, they announced nothing, they added nothing, they hyped up nothing. then you know it's just over, my dudes. It's just over. Yeah, so we got July 6th, and then they just posted this on July 6th, it looks like as well. Maybe, oh no, maybe that was July 7th. Just a little like scheduled trailer. And then just this today, yeah. That was it. No mention of Bungie Day, no celebration, nothing, no in-game items, like no emblems, no community events, right? There is no community. There's just no one playing. And there's just nothing they can do to save this. And it sucks that they decided to pull the trigger on Destiny 2 and put it down first. I feel like they should have just put them both down. You know what I'm saying? Hit them both at the same time, both go in the grave, and then rising from the ashes is a new project, potentially. A Destiny project, for crying out loud. I hope. Yeah, we better not be cooking up a Marathon 2 over there, Bungie. Please, for the love of God. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. How do you feel about Bungie making zero mention of Bungie Day in 2026? I guess the last one. I guess that's it. I guess the last Bungie Day we ever celebrated would have been 2025. That was the last one. It was the last one and we didn't even know it. And now this. All right, chat. Let's go here. This is crazy. We got Dynamico has gifted a sub, gifted another sub, 2 subs. Thank you, Di. W's in the chat for Dynamico. And Jackson has resubscribed with Prime sub and 3 months in a row. Thank you, Jackson. They never cared. Well, they did care for Bungie Day. Like, it was meant to be a big day for a while, right? It's just, I guess they thought that if they celebrated, maybe they thought if they celebrated anything with Marathon, everyone would just shit on them anyway, so they might as well say nothing. But that's just the look of defeat, right? That is the look of complete and utter defeat. If you can't even talk about Bungie Day, if you can't even talk about your singular IP that's left, somehow breathing, gasping for air right now, then you're just cooked, like then just throw in the towel then, right? Like if you don't have the cojones to even celebrate Bungie Day and talk about Marathon on your big day, then throw in the towel on the whole thing because it doesn't make any sense to continue this project at this point in time. It's literally just a waste of time. And every day we're just burning through tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars making this thing that could be something in Destiny, right? This could be a Destiny 1 remastered. This could be a Destiny 3. This could be anything, but it's not. And sads me. All right, let's see what we got here. Website. I know, I can't believe that was down. I didn't even expect the account to be suspended. They got his ass, dude. I just saw a I gotta do a separate short of this. We gotta talk about this before we get on to the next bit. I did not expect this at all. Guardians, they got him. Carson's The Game has been taken down. He made it for one day, almost 24 hours before getting shut down. We talked about this. We thought he might get the DMCA. And he did, in fact, get the DMCA. They took him down. Not before Dexerto and Pirate Nation and everyone else talked about it, though. Destiny 2 fans have released a free browser game that features Bungie's former CEO, Pete Parsons, as the final boss. players have to defeat him by pelting him with tomatoes. This was pure cinema, and this was content, dude. For one day this game existed. Now, technically, the site is still up. Just saying, if you want to play it, it's still there. But the Twitter account got taken down. They suspended him. It's got covered by everyone. Even Pirate Nation covered it. Destiny 2 fans have made a free browser game where former Bungie CEO Pete Parsons is the final boss. The game is a parody inspired by Destiny's Vault of Lost. Yeah, how did they get him if it's parody, right? I guess they used an actual image of him. Maybe they should have done like a cartoonified version of him. They should have added like red horns or something so that way it wasn't literally Pete Parsons, right? They should have just called it like CEO, you know, exotic car CEO, something. Exotic car CEO simulator. Launch that on Steam. Let me know what you think about it. Who do you think brought this down? Bungie? Twitter? Was it, reported as harassment? I wonder. Do you think Pete Parsons himself? Do you think that Pete Parsons saw this and actually got like offended, got upset? He hasn't said anything on Twitter. His entire account is just completely muted. Like, his account is so old now that he still thinks he's the CEO at Bungie. Someone's got to tell this guy. At Bungie Love. He hasn't been on Twitter in years, dude. He hasn't been on Twitter in years. Ain't no way. The last thing he tweeted was in 2024. Let me know what you think about the situation down in the comment section below. He would have to use his own photo and get it taken down. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. What do we got here? Article, he said. Oh, from former Bungie. All right, let's get this going. We got GTA Barber has subscribed with the tier 1 sub. W's in chat for GTA Barber. Thank you very much. All right, we got more spicy stuff to cover. What a day. It's never a dull day in Destiny. Well, soon there will be, I guess. Eventually it'll quiet down, right? Surely the drama will not go on until 2027. Surely not. Ronan Ghost with the tier 1 sub. W's in chat for Ronan. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Here we go. Here we go. It's time. Do you believe that Bungie, or do you believe that Sony will give Bungie a second chance? I personally do not think that's going to happen. I think on the list of fictional things, on the list of things that would never happen, that is at the very top, okay? There's a better chance of Santa Claus walking behind the camera behind me and doing a strip show for everyone on this stream. It's not happening, okay? There's just no way that you burn 2 IPs that were worth that much money with that much investment and you get a third chance. That's just, that's not how it works ever in business. Yeah. That's just not how it works. Even if they just burned 1, they probably would never get another chance. Even if they just killed Destiny 2 and nothing else, they would still not get another chance. likely because like how do you kill this thing that's like worth multiple billions of dollars? So that alone is enough to do them in. Marathon is just the icing on the shit cake. And then even more interesting than that is the fact that they also are partly responsible for Concord. Harold Ryan and a few others literally left a bunch of Bungie devs left and made Concord. So you got like three strikes, you're out. You know what I'm saying? It ain't looking good for Bungie, unfortunately. So yeah. I wish though, dude, I want more Destiny. Maybe we can get Destiny in another way. Maybe we can get a new studio. I don't know, but I doubt they're going to do anything, man. I highly doubt it, you know? So I especially don't think we'll see another live service game because the budget for that is so big. It's a big, big budget to run these live service games. So very unlikely that we'll see that sequel at this stage in time, unless some crazy stars align. But with the shift of the games industry, with consoles shitting the bed, Xbox, PlayStation shitting the bed, and everything else, like no one really wants to pick up the sloppy seconds from Bungie and try to turn that franchise around. As much as I believe the IP is super valuable and worth $1 billion, like the Destiny IP is worth it, most people are going to look at that investment and think that ain't worth it, you know? So unfortunately, we would have to pool together as a community. We will have to start a Kickstarter and pool together the money, and maybe together we could make something. But the problem is then we have to get the rights to the IP from Sony. They're probably not going to give it up. So then we have to make like a knockoff Destiny thing. And then how far can we scale this thing up, right? Do we even get close to an MMO? I doubt it. Who do we even hire for this, right? If we hire these people, hire that people, you get canceled, right? Suddenly you hire Christopher Barrett, you're going to get in some trouble. You know what I'm saying? People aren't going to be too happy with you. But then again, he does kind of know what to do. So it's kind of like maybe you do want Christopher Barrett. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying maybe some people would think that, right? So you got lots of problems, dude. You got 99 problems and no Destiny 3 at this stage. Death by Bungie. Oh no. What are we cooking up here? An elegy for the studio that once refused to copy anyone. That's crazy. There's an old inside joke about how Bungie got its name. Only a handful of us ever knew the real story behind it. Oh, I know about this one. You hear about this joke? The Bunga Bunga joke? List off the Bunga Bunga joke. What is that joke? It's an offensive joke. We called it Death by Bungie. I'm not going to spoil it here. So this is the joke that literally inspired the name Bungie, if you want to know. 3 travelers are captured by a fictional tribe. The chief gives each prisoner a choice: death or Bunga Bunga. The first chooses Bunga Bunga, thinking it can't be worse than death. He's then subjected to a humiliating SA, but survives. So they literally be doing things to him, which is a crazy, like that's the joke. I mean, this joke, I guess. The second sees what happened and chooses Bunga Bunga with the same outcome. So both people choose Bunga Bunga. The third, horrified, chooses death. The chief replies, death, but first, Bunga Bunga. So that's the joke. That is a pretty insane joke. Like, that's some fucking dark humor. And that's the origin story of Bungie. Like, what? How did that even happen? I, dude, I still am baffled that that's the origin story. But this week, the joke stopped being funny. I don't think it ever was funny. On June 25th, Bungie cut 292 people, most of the Destiny team. Some of the Marathon team. The studio head walked out the door. It's the third round of layoffs in 3 years. Sony called it a reorganization. The people who lost their jobs will call it something else. I'll get to how we got here. First, what Bungie used to be. Bungie's success came down to one thing: they were different. In the 90s, everyone was chasing the PC. That's where the money was. That's where the audience was. That's where the safe bet was. Bungie loved the Mac. They built Marathon and Myth on a platform most of the industry ignored. That wasn't a strategy, it was a personality. I don't know, man. I look back at those OG days, and you even rewatch some of this like deleted footage from Jason Jones, and they're like, yeah, we sold out to the man. And people are actually pretty mad at them because think about this: you build your entire community about on a game that's on the Mac, but then you sign this big deal with Microsoft. Like, hello? You know what I'm saying? You're behind enemy lines now. What the hell? That's a crazy mix up right there. But when you get people like Bill Gates hanging out with you, right? Like literally Bill Gates was in Bungie's studios, believe it or not. There's a picture of this, which is just insane to think about. When you start writing those checks that big, you're gonna choose that so you can see how far you can take your project. So I think that Bungie, even from the beginning, they absolutely had capitalistic intentions. Make no mistake of it. I remember when the new Quake came out. I told Jason Jones about it, and he agreed to come over and check it out. Oh, this guy goes way back. This guy knows Jason Jones personally. Goddamn. The whole team crowded around the screen. Jason lasted about 30 seconds and left. Everyone else kept playing. Interesting. So he started playing Quake. He lasted for 30 seconds and then he just immediately left. What happened? I asked him about it later. His answer was simple. Bungie doesn't copy other people's games. They make their own. Ooh, interesting. That was the whole company in one sentence. I think it's interesting to not try to copy other people's games, but to make your own. But you can see inspiration countless times, right? You can see countless uh, efforts and creative things made by Bungie that were inspirations from other things. So I feel like this is maybe a romanticized idea of what he thinks of Bungie or maybe Jason Jones, and maybe it was true in the earlier days. Like maybe they were a little bit more idealistic, but clearly things have changed, right? And I'm not even going to mention. I know everyone's going to say the marathon art theft controversy. I'm not even going to throw that in here. We'll leave that for another time. Which is why the new marathon hit me the way it did. I watched the trailer and my heart sank. No single player, an extraction shooter, the exact genre everyone else was already piling into. The Jason Jones I knew would have walked out in 30 seconds. Wow. I've been gone from that world for a long time, but I can tell you when the trouble started. It started when the suits took over and the people who actually mattered started disappearing. Alex Seropian, Steak Bacon, Marty O'Donnell, Marcus Leto, Jamie Griesmer, Joe Staten. These were the original 7, I believe. Like these were the OGs, the ones that built it all. You don't lose people like that and stay the same company. You can keep the logo, you can keep the IP. The thing that made it special leaves with them. Wow. I'll be straight with you. I haven't played the new Marathon. I have no desire to play another extraction shooter. Maybe that tells you something on its own. Single player games still matter. They matter deeply. So does the talent that built the studio into what it was. Maybe that's how Jason Jones redeems himself. Go back to the origins. Single player game in the Destiny universe. All is fixed. All is forgiven. I'm not here to preach. I'm not here to lament. Bungie gave me my first big break in the industry. Watching it come to this is hard. The blame sits in two places: management, who hollowed the place out, and Sony, who paid $3.6 billion for a company that was already a shell of its former self. Damn. You know what I find funny about a lot of this is that it's always this vague management, this ominous bad guy that's never named. It's never a specific person or a specific action that someone did. And it makes me laugh just a little bit because when you don't actually take that accountability and you just blame this sort of ominous thing, this ominous entity that's not specific, it's really just like a conspiracy theory more than anything. It just doesn't hold any weight. It's not valid to me. It's just, it's just a waste of time, in my opinion. I get a little bit annoyed with it because it's like, I don't mind failure or seeing people fail or things fail as long as there's accountability and you can like assess exactly what it was and learn from those mistakes and adjust. But when it's just like, oh yeah, it's just management. Just management isn't a person. There's not John management, Like who are we talking about and what specific decisions did they make? They've since written down more than $500 million against that deal. The math was never going to work because the thing they thought they were buying had already walked out the door. Let me leave you with this story about Halo. Oh, let's go back. We're going way back in time to 1999. God damn. This must be like Chicago days. Bungie was about to show Halo for the first time at Macworld. The day before the keynote, there was a rehearsal. Steve Jobs did his part, then introduced Jason Jones. I remember that. He was on stage, right? Like, how crazy is that? That Bungie and Jason Jones, like, he was friends with both Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, right? He's playing both sides of the fence here. Jobs stepped off and started working the floor, talking to his people, only half paying attention. Then Jason started his demo, and Steve started watching. More and more, at one point he stopped, looked at the screen, and said, quote, "Now that's fucking cool." That was the feeling. That was Bungie at its best. A small team with a strange idea, making something so good that the most demanding man in tech forgot what he was doing and just watched. 27 years after that demo, in the layoffs, I opened this piece with, "It looks like Jason Jones is gone too," allegedly. Yeah, that's crazy. Bungie without Jason Jones, can you imagine? The co-founder, the last one left from the beginning, the man in both stories I just told you, the one who made Steve Jobs stop and stare. When even he gets shown the door, there's nothing left to protect. This is Theseus' ship. Fully realized. Bungie needs to find its way back to that feeling, one way or another. If it can't, it's only a matter of time before the studio dies a lonely death somewhere in the heavens. And I think it's probably too far gone at this point, if I'm being honest. But a very cool story, and I like to see people's perspectives on things, especially people that were there, right? I do give a lot of weight to people that have been around for a long time, and clearly this guy's an OG. What's his name? This is Tuncer Deniz, the CEO of Shifty Eye Games, ex-Bungie, made Marathon and Myth, the OG Marathon, I'm assuming. Right. Building games, investing capital, chasing experiences. We got a response from ex-Bungie game director Christopher Barrett here. He said, technically, the joke was never funny. That joke is pretty fucking brutal. He says, depends on who is telling it. Oh my God. Listen, there was an element of Bungie in their early days where they had a very frat boy type of energy to them. And I mean, they were all younger, so I guess, you can't blame them too much. But there's a certain level of, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like honesty and like understanding the joke or just getting it that they used to have. Like you're watching these old videos. We've been going back and doing this preview of these old videos, and they're just telling such funny jokes. They're like, yeah, we sold out to the man. That's what they said. Jason Jones on camera says, yeah, we sold out to the man. What? Like, how crazy? Like he's saying it sarcastically, right? Because obviously he signed the deal. And then you got other guys on camera. One guy on camera said this, I'm not joking, in an actual Bungie interview. He said, yeah, our next goal is to try to hire some women. It's not going too well. I was like, what is this? These guys are fucking funny. These guys are actually just like brutally honest, funny, like awkward nerds that like they get it. They have a sense of humor. They were really cool. Like you go back and look at these early Bungie vlogs and documentaries. These guys are actually making me laugh, and like you'll watch them and you just there's something about them you like. Like they actually have aura at that point in time. Fast forward to the most recent interviews and the most recent God, the times they're sitting around the table talking so awkwardly, and it's just so bad, dude. It's so bad. Times have changed. What did this guy say? Bungie's motto used to be, quote, "We make games we want to play." I remember that. That's when I showed up. When it changed to, quote, "We create worlds that inspire friendship," it just shifted from passion for games to corporate speak, losing part of its soul. Leadership slowly killing them. This really was a big shift right here, wasn't it? And it might seem silly because it's just words on the side of your building, right? We make games we want to play, or we create worlds that inspire friendship. Both can be true, right? Like you can do both technically, but what you choose to make your mantra speaks volumes of like who you are as a company. And to pick the most like corporate friendly, PC friendly, just like AI slop, like hey, chat GPT, what should my video game company say as a slogan? Don't pick anything that offends anyone. Like, okay. We create worlds that inspire friendship. Like, all right, that's about as corny as it fucking gets, dude. I like this more too. We make games we want to play, and people would give them flack about this at times, right? Like, oh, you make games you want to play, but it's like that's where it starts. Like, let's be real. You're a person sitting in a room. You make a game that you want to play. You're making a thing that doesn't yet exist, right? If you go back in time, go back to the early days, you're making a thing that does not yet exist in the world because you want to play that thing. You have this idea in your head of like a game, and this is what it would look like, and this is where you'd go, and this is what this is what the character would sound like, and this is what the guns would look like, and these are the aliens they would fight, right? And that's what you're envisioning it in your head, and then you make the game that you wanted to play. You physically make it. You sit down and you write the code out and you do everything. You do all the hard work. You hire the artists, everything. That's what it is. That's what it was for them. You know, like that's okay. And you can criticize and be like, oh, you should make games. You should make games for everyone or make games for some other. Like, nah, that's what it is. And there's something really special about those early Bungie days. Something definitely changed. And unfortunately, they lost it all. And the downfall will be talked about and studied for many, many years to come. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. I bet Sony regrets of making that last payment to Bungie. I don't know, man. Sony was in a tough spot. They really want to win in the live service market. So they were in a tough spot too, where they're basically getting crushed by Microsoft. So they had their backs against the wall, and they decided to pull the trigger on that live service game. It's a good motto. I like that motto. We make games we want to play. It makes sense, right? Like, think about this, right? What a game are we thinking about making or thinking about wanting in the world? We are making in our minds right now, everyone watching this, the larger community, we're making in our heads Destiny 3. Like, that's what we're envisioning in our own minds, right? So we are visually making the game that we want to play, Destiny 3. And making it become a reality involves, tons of capital, investment from Sony or Microsoft or whoever, right? Like someone's got to have, billions of dollars probably, right? And making that happen is one thing, but that's where it all starts, right? It starts with an idea in your mind, and then you turn it into reality. Killing the biggest live service game is such a brain dead move, considering that could have been so much better than it was. Yeah. Maybe I'm spitballing, but it's denial. So much wasted potential. There is a lot of wasted potential, and I feel like there's this interesting element of not really knowing what you got until it's gone, right? Like, I think that if you were to ask Jason Jones right now, he would feel the same way, but you had to get to this place to really understand what you had, right? Like, they really had it all with Destiny. They had it all. And then the other issue is that they're rich now too. Right now they're in their. How old is Jason Jones? He's got to be in like his 40s, 50s. How old is Jason Jones from Bungie? Jason Jones is now 55 years old. So the other element is like, how much longer are you going to do it for, too, right? Like, how long until you retire? I mean, he could just keep doing it as like a passion project more than anything. But Jason Jones, I guarantee you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Jason Jones has more than $100 million in his bank account. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro is doing very well. Like, if Pete Parsons has that car collection, Jason Jones probably has a fucking yacht. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro literally is doing very well. Very well. Like, so what does he need to keep grinding for, right? Like, what is he wanted to, he probably just wanted to leave at a certain point. After Marathon tanked, he's like, fuck it, dude. I'll just take off now. Just dip. You can't blame him, too. If you were 55 and the whole world was shitting on both your gaming projects, right? You probably would just dip out, too, probably. I don't know. It's hard to say. ChatGPT, make me Destiny 3, but it's the game I want to play, not a world that inspires friendship and rainbows. Computer, computer, make Destiny 3, but no rainbows. Computer, make Destiny 3, but make it like Destiny 1 was, but better. Destiny 1, but we have all of the subclasses. Thanks so much for your coverage of the fallout of Bungie and D2 these last few weeks. In some ways, it doesn't seem like it's over until we're talking about it. It is. It's a very... I'm going to cry even a little bit thinking about it, dude. Like, I still have not cried on camera. I'm not going to cry on camera on stream, but man, it hurts to even talk about it, but I like walk into I walk around my house and it's like everything is just so like ingrained in Destiny and like Bungie stuff that it's like I was looking at my closet earlier and I was looking at my shirts and like I have all these like Bungie t-shirts from all these like charity campaigns and I'm just like all of this is just like there's just it's just the Bungie Foundation is just all gone, you know? Like it's just gone. And like I have these mouse pads and I have these Bungie pins and I have these Bungie pens and Bungie notepads and Bungie everything. Like there's just a million different merch things from playing this game and hanging out at that studio and doing all this shit all these years, right? It's like and buying stuff on the Bungie store, etc. It's like all of this is just fucking it's just gone. All of this is defunct. It's such a crazy feeling going into my closet and looking at these shirts that say like Bungie Foundation and all these things. And it's like, it's over. I'm like, whoa. It's so weird to me because like it wasn't that long ago. It was just like months ago that I was like putting on my shirt and I'm like super proud to wear my Game to Give shirt. I'm still very proud of it, right? We still raised this incredible amount of money for charity, by the way. So like we did a good thing and I'm very thankful that the Bungie Foundation and Game to Give did that for those various different charities, but it's just crazy to me that it's now over and that it's like it's not ever going to happen again. There's not going to be any more charity events or fundraisers with them or that, organization. It's just that's it. After so many consecutive years of doing it too. Like literally since the first year I started streaming, we were raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation and we were raising money for Game to Give and countless other things, right? Like all this different stuff. St. Jude's, right? So many things, man. We've done a lot of good, which is really cool. And I think there's something that just feels really cool about doing that. Especially when you get put in a position where you can, you're like, whoa, I get to do this. Like I get to, help these causes that are like really cool. But it's a really surreal feeling seeing the end of it, and be like, whoa, that's it. It's like, that's the last time I'll ever do a stream for the Bungie Foundation. And I didn't even realize it. Like the last one we did, I didn't even realize it, It's the last time we're ever going to raise money for that, It's crazy. I've got so much stuff and my husband calls it all junk now. It's sad. Dude, that is super sad. It just sucks to see that this is where it ends, 12 years, yeah. Soon Bungie will be a Mandela effect. Yeah. It's just crazy because it was so big. It's like there's something about something being so big that you could never envision it dying. Like imagine Star Wars dying. You're like, what? Star Wars could never die. Like Star Wars can't die, right? And imagine something, like a medium, an IP, a story, a game or something so big, right? Like it kind of makes sense that a little tiny game would fall off and die or something, right? Like, I don't know. Like you expect it to some degree, like in the first few years of some new project, you know? But when something's kind of proven itself against the test of time, you're like, man. And someone said Star Wars is almost dead. Yeah, Star Wars is cooked probably too. Star Wars dying would be pretty crazy, you know? But it's the weird part about this generation is that we kind of saw the rise of these like we really saw the rise of like movies and these IPs and these like stories. And I feel like I don't know if this is accurate, but were we the first like generation to create like defined like universes or something? Like I swear like universes wasn't exactly a thing that was talked about as much. I'm sure it was in like science fiction and books and shit probably, but it feels weird that like we a big thing in media right now is creating a universe, right? Like the Bungie universe, right, is dead, right? That universe is dead. There's so many of them now. This generation is in trouble. There's so much mess. Yeah, fictional universes, yeah. I guess like a very well-defined Bible. I mean, yeah, I mean that's like different. It's not meant to be like a fucking fictional story. I should hope not, right? Like, but like a fictional story that's created that's meant to like encapsulate an entirely separate universe with different rules and I don't know, characters and shit. I just seen more of that recently, right? You talk about like the Marvel universe and stuff like that. It's crazy though. All right, what other news stories do we got here? Paul Tassi is chirping again. What's Paul chirping about today? Bungie should learn from the Guild Wars franchise. Yeah, I don't know, man. Hey, fix this camera. Let's go. W. Paul. W. Paul, he's becoming a proper YouTuber, dude. He fixed his camera. You love to see it. I'm telling you, his last video was scuffed. You guys don't believe me? Watch this. Look at his last video. What is this? Bro had on like bro had on like a gray filter, dude. Look at the what happened? This is like before and after the Destiny players when they read the Every End is a New Beginning article. Before, after. Like, you're telling me that's the same camera. You're telling me that's the same camera, Paul. There ain't no way. What happened here? Had no filter on? Oh no. It's time to check in on Marathon, I guess. Don't look at the charts. Don't do it. They look so bad. It's terrible. If you don't know, obviously Marathon is down in the dumps. And ironically, yesterday for Bungie Day, they did something special and they did 7,777 or no, 7,077 players. A Bungie Day special. How crazy is that? It's not good though. We need more players than that. Let's see what Paul's cooking up here.
All right, Evie and I are back. Oh, there she goes. To talk about Marathon. I'm also trying to figure out my lighting. I did red 2 days ago, then I did gray, and I've been fucking around with it. And let me know if this looks okay, because I'm colorblind and I cannot see shades of
Oh,
some colors. Anyway,
that's what's going on.
so we did the
Gotcha.
big
I was wondering what's going on with that.
Destiny finale yesterday in terms of its last hotfix, barring any emergencies. I don't know. I'm still playing. We'll see how long that goes, but figured it was time to turn back to the game that Bungie is now focusing all of their efforts on outside of whatever incubation they have going on. That is several hundred developers, and that, of course, is Marathon. Um, the goal with Marathon now is that it is the sole game that needs to support Bungie or be the flagship of Sony's live plans going forward, given how things have gone so far and the upcoming slate of games that don't look especially promising. But we are now, I mean, we've kind of been in the spot, but now we're especially in a spot where the future of Marathon does not look promising, probably on a scale that we have not seen before. If you don't want to watch,
Yeah, we talked about this before, and you can see the decline of the Destiny player base from the new update. It's about 50% loss. And I think maybe Bungie was betting on the Destiny players leaving and going to play Marathon. Like, hey, Destiny's gone, so let's go wave goodbye. Let's jump into the new update and then leave and then go play Marathon. But none of them left and played Marathon. So the Marathon's population is continuing to decline day by day, week by week. It's losing like just tons of people compared to where it was when it launched, I guess, with 88,000. We're down to like the 4 digits. We had 6,000 and some change yesterday. It's about to be less than 2,000 during its low points. It's brutal, right? The population is absolutely brutal. And the outcome that I think Bungie and Sony were gambling on, which is Destiny players, wanting more of Bungie's, magical shooting, uh, whatever that is called, game development skills, right? Whatever it is that they do where they make the guns feel really visceral and good, like they do in Destiny 2 and in Marathon. That hasn't won people over though. Like that's not like that's a nice little like feather to put in your cap, but if the cap is made of shit, then apparently it doesn't work. So unfortunately, Marathon has really crispy gunplay, very crispy gunplay, but not. It doesn't have anything else. It can't stand on its own 2 feet as an extraction shooter.
Marathon doom and gloom video, turn it off now, but just numbers, man, and looking ahead to the roadmap
They're just numbers. They can't hurt you, okay? Point on the doll where the numbers hurt you.
that they've kind of talked about coming up here. And the latest numbers we have are a peak of 6,700 players yesterday. I think yesterday was 7,000 in terms of Steam, and then Steam is about a 2-to-1 ratio for console. So we're, I don't know, a little over 10,000 concurrents for the whole game. This is bad on a level that I think is irredeemable at this point.
I agree.
Namely for a few reasons. First, I think Marathon has just been set in stone in the minds of so many people now that I don't think there's any real reversing it. It has had so many quote unquote first impressions that I don't know how else they can get past this.
Yeah, so what he's saying is that they've tried many new things to reinvent themselves, and nothing has landed and made any sort of meaningful difference just yet. The last card they can play, I guess, is the PvE mode that's meant to come out in a few weeks. And let's be real, like, it's not going to do much. There's just no way that this PvE mode in an extraction shooter is going to wow the larger gaming audience right now and get everyone online and buying Marathon. Very unlikely. Will they continue to cook? It would seem as though that's the case. I mean, it's hard to tell because we did get Bungie Day just recently, and there was absolutely no mention of Marathon at all, which I do feel like that silence is deafening, especially considering, people have been saying game's probably going to die. Bungie's probably done for, and they're not working against that narrative by any means. It don't look too good. So I think the PvE mode's going to come out. It's not going to do too well. I don't know how long Marathon's contingency plan is going to work for. I can only imagine they gave themselves like a year, and they probably have to meet certain milestones, right? Like you can't just have the game have like 4 people online, and then like, yep, we're still running it, dude. We're still next update comes out in a week. Like there does have to be some limitations here. There's a certain point where you have to just throw in the towel. Like with a studio of this size, with the super expensive West Coast, you know, dev fees and stuff, right? Averaging about $6 million a month just to keep the lights on. You can't just do that for free. And Sony is definitely not interested in uh, burning more money with Bungie. So now we're kind of waiting for the big day, right? We're waiting for the axe to drop. We've been joking about this. We're like, Marathon is a dead game that just hasn't died yet, right? Like we're just waiting for the announcement basically. And I'm not sure what they're waiting for, or if they are really going to try something big. Like maybe they're going to come out of the gate swinging and do a big Forsaken level update and try and turn it around. But if there isn't something massive, like, and I mean absolutely massive, then you might as well give it up. And even if there is something massive, you probably should give it up anyways. And you know, uh, know when to quit, right? Know when to stop gambling and burning through money and start focusing on something Destiny related while you still have a job.
Weekends, whatever, like we've had these. We had the first impression outside of the trailer that was very cool that everyone liked before we knew it was an extraction shooter was the public alpha test. That was not a good idea. That was bad. Admittedly things got better from there, but that was the real first impression that people got of the game, either if they were playing or watching it. There was the server slam, like days before the game came out, where people could show up and try it for free before it launched for $40. And then we had the $40 launch, the official launch. That was another thing. And then we just had another free, it was going to be a free weekend and it ended up being, or a free week, and it ended up being like a free 10 days because of server problems. And that did not remotely change the trajectory of either sales or player count. So what are we left with? I think Marathon is really running out of cards to play at this point. The big obvious one is the introduction of a PvP mode, which is at the end of this month. We are still 3 weeks away from that. And given the trajectory of how the game has been doing and over the course of the past month, how much it's been decreasing, I mean, in the last month, it has dropped pretty much half. Like it was at more than that, 25,000 on June 9th, and then it quickly kind of dropped from there, 16,000 by June 12th. So we are at less than half of that. And I don't think that it's going to lose another half in a month, but I would be shocked if we did not go down to 6,000 or 5,000 players even by the time the
Yeah,
people.
where does it bottom out at, right? In the previous season, for like the last month of season one, we seemed to consistently hit 10,000, which, in hindsight now sounds pretty good. It didn't seem very good at the time because we had started with like 88,000, but the last month was like, okay, at least there's like a core audience of 10,000 people during peak playing hours logging in every time, and that's just on Steam. It's if they could just consistently keep that from season to season, in perpetuity, then sure, like that's fine. Marathon's just a niche game, and they can keep going, perhaps, right? If they're in the green, or at least if they're cutting it close with their profitability, which we have no clue how much people are spending in that game, or how frequently people are buying that game anymore. But now, unfortunately, we're starting to see some significantly more alarming signs, which is the population didn't sustain itself at that 10,000 mark. It's just gone down even more. It's tanking even lower. And where will it bottom out this season? What is the end? What is the last month of season 2 going to look like? And if it continues on this way, what will season 3 be able to do, right, as a successful launch to win those players back, or Like, it's a never ending vicious cycle of like it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse for the game. And they're trying new things. They're doing the best they can. I mean, given the situation, right? Like I give them credit. They are trying stuff, right? It's not like they just gave up immediately. Like some people would say, "Oh, you maybe you threw in the towel too fast." I mean, I personally would have thrown in the towel probably after 2 weeks, but for those that really like that genre, those that really like that game, they would be disappointed if the towel was thrown in so early. So they want Bungie to, try some stuff and do the best they can to see if they can get this game sustainable. But it would seem like it's just absolutely cooked. There's nothing they can do to fix this thing. And if I had the right idea, I would give it. If there was genuinely an idea in my mind, I was like, if they did this one thing, it would be saved. But unfortunately, I just think that ship has sailed. I don't think that that's an option. I think that there are winnable scenarios for some games like Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky for those games to come back, but there's certain games that there is no option to come back. Like you're not going to see a reboot of Concord, right? Like literally like the actual game Concord or Highguard, right? There will never be a reboot. There's nothing to come back to. There's nothing to relaunch it and like make it successful one day. Like it's just over and done forever. And Marathon, uh, while I will say is better than Concord, it's in that category of there ain't no fixing this thing.
PvE update rolls around. These are numbers that are so poor. I mean, you could double them outright, triple them for the PvE update, and I still don't think that would be remotely good enough for where the game needs to be. I am concerned about, this PvE update was not planned. This is sort of a pull the emergency lever and, at least it wasn't planned for this early, pull the emergency lever and try and get people engaged in the game in a different way with a mode that is almost entirely separate from the main extraction shooter aspect of the game. Its own progression system and loot that you don't actually extract with, currency to upgrade that specific mode, or maybe buy some items for more normal play, but I don't imagine many people would use that as a primary item source. This is after they've already tried, to appeal more to casuals with the sponsored kit modes where you go in risking nothing, and then you can come out and get loot for the other modes, except maybe you'll just stay in sponsored kit mode. The big test here is I don't know what you do after PvE mode. The concern is that since this was sort
It really is a good point to bring up too, is that after the PvE mode, right? I think you should just call it quits if it doesn't like, I don't know, 4x the population. Because if PvE mode doesn't save it, then like there's no audience for the game. And you think, well, what if you added a fifth map, a sixth map, a seventh map? Like, I don't think any number of maps is going to suddenly get people on the game. We've seen from the previous statistics that Cryo Archive really has not interested people that much. It's a cool idea. Like, I genuinely think the idea of Cryo Archive is pretty fucking epic in some ways. Like, an extraction map with these puzzles and a raid boss. Like, it's something that's definitely never been done before. But it is not interesting to the larger gaming audience. Clearly, they're not interested in that. So it's like more maps isn't going to help. More maps is going to be problematic, if anything, because Cryo is already too difficult for most people and pushing them away. So if you come out with a fifth map that's even more hardcore, that's a big problem. If you come out with a fifth map that's way more casual, then that's also a problem because then people are like disappointed that we're kind of expecting something to eclipse Cryo. New characters aren't going to do anything. Yeah, like how many? Like, there's plenty enough variety within the existing characters right now. New weapons aren't going to do anything. Maybe that would be the most interesting element, though, is like a new weapon that can like do some wildly different things than the existing weapons. Like that might be the most enticing route that I can think of. Some crazy alien weapons, perhaps. Maybe take a page out of Destiny's book. But I'm really struggling to see what they could possibly do, and only time will tell, man. Could you imagine though? Could you imagine if the opposite ends up being true? If this PvE mode is like wildfire, the most interesting thing we've ever seen, and it's like straight up the new Fortnite. This would be the most incredible comeback story of all time. Very unlikely though, right? Very unlikely. The cards are stacked against them. The PvE mode is going to just be running around Dire Marsh, but there's no other people. Like that's probably what it's going to be. So that's really not that interesting and really not that challenging. And most people will not even care for to do that really at all.
Sort of thrown together. I think this is going to be more of a bare bones look at PvP or PvE and not something that has been like in the works for a long time. It's more of like a trial balloon in terms of like, okay, do you guys like this? Should we build this out? But how long does that take? You know, how much money does that take? How much runway do they even have to get something like that out? It seems like they're at a point where they're just kind of throwing everything at a wall and seeing what sticks. And so far, nothing has stuck. There's all these conversations about how other games have turned things around and been able to go from an initial launch failure to something much better over time and become, in some instances, some of the best games of all time. The obvious reference there is Cyberpunk, which had its big disastrous launch, No Man's Sky, which did not deliver on what was promised. The issue with those two games
We're like the same person, okay? We're literally wearing the same black shirt, okay? We're talking about the exact same topics. The difference, like you said, like he's about to say, I imagine, is that those games had a really good like core base of interest, and they just needed to fix some like technical details more than anything. And it's not really Marathon's problem though. These are very different problems, right? And so for Cyberpunk and for No Man's Sky, it was a big problem, but one that could be solved. And I don't know that Marathon has a problem that can be solved.
is they started out super strong, and there was a ton of interest in both of those games right at the beginning. So even if it disappointed those people, as you improved the game, that would attract the people that already owned the game and bring them back. Whereas not that many people bought Marathon in the first.
He's partially colorblind, so that's why many of his shirts are. He's partially colorblind. That's probably why he's able to play Marathon. Okay, the only playing Marathon looks like a highlighter factory exploded.
First place. So if you're returning a certain percentage of them, that's still not very high. You need to sort of dramatically increase sales over time in a way that seems implausible at this point. There's also, the reference to Rainbow Six Siege, where that was struggling, and then it had this big turnaround over time. A few things there. One of the main changes there was that the game went free to play. I think we have more than enough evidence to show that Marathon going free to play would do nothing. That was, at least somewhat evident during the server slam, and it was very much evident in this recent 10-day stretch of time, which
can't be stressed enough. That when you take a game that you've worked really hard on, like let's say you worked really really hard on this thing, you poured countless hours and $250 million presumably into this project. When you do make that thing go free to play, your hope is that anyone that plays it catches on like wildfire, right? Like they get to interact with it and they say, "Oh, hey, there's something really special here." And that's supposed to win them over. Like free to play, that's what it's meant to be. And if you look at like some of the best games, right? They're so successful as an IP that they can afford to go free to play because they want that low barrier of entry. So that way more people funnel in and then they make money through, microtransactions or whatever skins and stuff, right? Depends on the game. That's like only the best, most successful, most impressive IPs will be able to afford to be free to play live service. Getting to do both of those, you have a very successful IP. If you can be free to play and live service, you're doing something very right. And the numbers will accommodate that, right? Like you'll have a massive population. Marathon, though, man, they made this game free to play, free for the server slam, made it free to play season 2, and it has never shown that like that same wildfire effect that like, oh, anyone that touches this game, they stay playing this game, right? And that's a big problem, especially if you're, already struggling with your budgeting right now. and you're trying to do live service, like that kind of means that the idea you had, whatever that idea was, whether it's marathon or not, the idea just wasn't very good. Clearly, it just wasn't very good if it's not catching, right? Like most products, if you give it to people for free, like free entertainment, free video game to play, like a free video game, and you spent $250 million on making it, it should be pretty damn good most of the time, right? Like it should be pretty fucking good most of the time. That's a lot of money to put into something to give away for free. It's not having that effect though at all.
At the beginning of a new season with new modes and a new hero and all that stuff, and it didn't do anything. So, what would free to play do other than reduce even more, the minimal amount of sales, I guess, that it's already getting? It doesn't seem like that is a solution here. I would also argue that Rainbow Six was, it's a tactical shooter, but that's still a more accessible genre than this very hardcore extraction game that is, even at the higher levels, the people that are really devoted to it, they're always complaining about balance and this and that, and the reason to run this and that. And so it's not like the game is perfect for that group either. And Bungie has to keep working on that aspect lest they lose their highest, engagement players. That is one thing that Sony has cited as the quote strong foundation of Marathon, which is, a figure that we had, at least, I don't know, before season 2, where the people that played Marathon were like grinding the shit out of Marathon and had like a ton of player hours. So that was like probably the best statistic that we got out of early Marathon days. I don't know whether that's still
Yeah, someone said not even free to play will save it. More than likely. At this rate, they're probably gonna have to start paying people money to play it. That could get interesting, right? Maybe if they got the money for this, maybe start paying people, give them like an hourly rate, play marathon. What's a good going rate to play a video game these days? We're not too far away from this becoming a reality as a business model for some of these companies, I'm telling you.
true. These numbers kind of dropping like this would indicate otherwise. But now Bungie is split between trying all of these different ways to get more casual players into the game. I think PvE mode is obviously the culmination of that, given the separation it has from the main mode. They already talked about a potential PvP mode. We don't know, that could range from anything from more teams on a map and no UESC enemies to an arena shooter format to a battle royale. Like, we have no real idea what that's going to be. I think there is a perfect world plan here where Marathon becomes more than an extraction shooter. The ideal that I think Bungie is at least trying to go after here is Marathon is sort of a hub for games and different modes. They use its, core concept, its core mechanics, gameplay, stuff like that, to branch off into, a number of different modes. Like, think of, a mini version of Destiny, I guess, where you have PvP, PvPvE, PvE, and these other things. The problem is that would take a very long time to set up. And like we've already heard, at least, officially from Joe Ziegler, that is sort of a plan over the next year to, he didn't say it outright, but like, combine all these aspects together and evolve Marathon. And that, that's how I interpret that. But again, it faces these problems of, can it attract a significant number of players as this stuff is added? And I think that things are sort of too etched in stone in the minds of most players now, where even if you add something like, a dedicated PvP mode or PvE mode, it is a tough sell. And it is a keyword sell because you still have to buy a $40 copy unless they're doing something like the PvE mode is free, and then you got to pay for the battle royale mode and like, or for the extraction mode, and then you're sort of trying to get into like attempted Fortnite territory where the battle royale was so popular it took over Save the World. But I don't think anybody believes that Marathon can have like that level of explosive trajectory.
Someone said the core of Marathon is wrong. That's the big issue. And I think Tim Sweeney had a pretty good assessment of this situation to some degree. He was saying, the CEO of Fortnite, right? He was saying that in the games industry, it's kind of like the winner takes all. And in the shooter space, there's already some big winners out there, right? You got CS:GOs. You can list off some shooter games. Call of Duties have been making good money for a long time. Battlefield was even killing it, right? The idea of creating a new shooter game in this like competitive, like several multi-billion dollar IP market, right? It's kind of like you and I trying to create a car company, right? Like if you and I said, let's pool our money together and let's create a car company, we're going to compete with Ford and Tesla and whatever, right? Like it ain't gonna happen, guys. Like we don't have the capital. It's we the size and the scale would have to be so big. It'd have to be so much planning. You'd have to have so much initial investment. It's just crazy, and even a $250 million investment, not that it couldn't happen, but in the shooter space, right? 250 sounds like an incredible budget for a game, and it is a lot, but in the shooter space, not so much, right? In the game space, uh, it's still a lot. I mean, Arc Raiders was 75 million and it did well, but there's games that are just pumping out and generating so much money that you have to create this. You would expect with a budget that big that it would be this all-encompassing shooter game, that it would have had a campaign, extraction, maybe even like arena shooter elements like Destiny where you constantly respawn, a shooting range, right? A social space. You would kind of expect some of these things to be present in day one, given, all of those things are prevalent in the already existing multi-billion-dollar shooter games that are just continuing to rake in the money year by year, right? So if you want to compete against that, it's kind of like trying to compete against the car companies, and you're like, well, the cars are gonna have like fucking because you can't afford to all the parts. Your car's gonna have like a really weak engine, like a lawnmower engine, and you can't afford seat belts, and you can't afford proper glass, so it's just like a plastic bag as a windshield. It's like that's what you're competing against, unless you come out swinging, and unless you actually are like trying to take over. And Marathon just feels like a kind of a pathetic attempt in some ways, like an extraction game, 6 players, 4 maps. uh, it just wasn't. I don't think this was in the cards to ever be wildly successful. And I do think that budget could have gone to Destiny and could have worked on us leaving the solar system, which would have been wildly successful. We're talking about Destiny 3. Uh, can you imagine we're in an entirely different solar system, new planets, new everything, right? That type of money, 250 million, that does pay for something like a Destiny 3. That gets you at least halfway there, if not further, because you could theoretically work on a Destiny 3 while simultaneously still developing Destiny 2 for a good period of time. So you're still generating money from that project. And then you're just day by day, pushing devs over as you get into pre-production and post-production or production for the game. It's like, that's obviously the best case scenario for this. Of course, everyone looks at that and says, yeah, that's what they should have done. But for some insane reason, they went all in on Marathon, and then they're doubling down on Marathon and killing Destiny, and now they're like tripling down on Marathon. And it's like, why? What does Bungie see? Like Bungie looks at Marathon, and I swear they see this like something that no one else sees. They look at this thing and they're like, this is it. This is the magnum opus. And everyone else is just like, that is shit. And it's just such a crazy level of delusion with this game. And it's so frustrating because you can't seem to change their minds. They're like, no, this is it. This is the best game ever, I guess, that no one wants to play.
I I don't think you can recover from this. I just the numbers have gotten so low that I don't believe there is anything that can turn it around now. And I'm not, being doom and gloom because I hate the game or anything, but this is alarming. Like things were not great when the game was doing was even with Destiny ish. When it got down to that point, they were both doing 18, 20 a day. And then we've had this recent situation of like explosive Destiny engagement and Marathon being a fraction of that. I don't know if I'm not one to directly compare those perhaps as much. Like, I guess it's worth noting. Maybe I have compared them, but it's a different situation. The finale of an 11-year franchise and the game being in a really good state, as opposed to Marathon, which yeah, I think it's been clear that the vast majority of Destiny players have not really jumped over to. A lot of the most engaged players with Marathon are some of the formerly harder core Destiny people, but um, as Destiny has had this finale, like had this ending engagement, and like people are pissed at Marathon, like I don't think that is the thing that is pulling people away from Marathon. I think people are just not attracted to the game in the first place, so these numbers aren't increasing with new sales. Oh, it's season 2, we're gonna have some giant leap that everyone, the game is transformed and people want to come in. And I think it's just burning out existing players too. If these numbers were like right at the end of a season or something, the end of a 3-month season, it's like, that wouldn't be great, but at least it's like, oh, well, next week there's a new season launch. We're still a month away from the mid-season update, which, introduces this, but it's not even a new season. And we have weeks to go to see what even happens here. You know, again, I've said this before, but like people gave me shit about the article I wrote last summer where I'm like, this is just not going to work. And
Yeah, that has aged well. It has aged like fine wine.
though at times things looked maybe a little more promising than my ultra dire predictions.
Even the dog hates Marathon. Think about that.
Uh-oh. um, Evie, chill, chill, chill. I think that that is coming true, and I don't really see a way out of it based on the current situation, the current declines we're seeing, and kind of what's upcoming in the roadmap. I don't know what could possibly be in this PvE mode to like ultra excite people on a level that dramatically, reverses the fortunes of the game and does all these multiples of increases. So anyway, I will wrap up before Evie keeps barking more. But I mean, there will be more to say about Marathon. I'm going to jump into the PvE mode. Obviously, I have not been playing for a while, but okay, someone's at the door or the garage is open. I don't know, something. But yeah, so anyway, thank you for watching.
All right, there it is. That was Paul Tassi's breakdown of the Marathon checkup. It ain't going too well. And someone said in chat, Marathon just has no riz. It's like asking me to eat at the most tasteless buffet, but my companion seems to love it, and I just left puzzled how he can taste anything when everything he's got is white rice porridge. Yeah. And there's an interesting element about when they started this, right? Maybe 5 years ago, people wouldn't have predicted the games industry to be in this position. So it's like if you were to go back then, it doesn't sound like the worst idea ever because you're kind of expecting Destiny to go on and on and on. Like, in a world where Destiny is still crushing it right now and still getting regular updates, I don't know that it's as big of a problem for Marathon to like be this like failed little thing. And Destiny players maybe feel more inclined to like out of charity almost go and play and buy it. But in the world where the devs were abandoning Destiny 2 to make this thing, and therefore by proxy killing Destiny 2, that was just dumb as fuck. Like that will forever be, in my opinion, the dumbest thing I have ever heard. Like you guys abandoned Destiny 2 to make that game, and then Destiny 2 died. Like it's one thing if you need like, to hire on some, I don't know, some more contractors to finish Marathon or something. Like they had the art scandal, right? They had to delay it. They had to remove a bunch of assets and fix the graphics from the alpha and all that, right? They had a lot to do, but to have that big problem happen and your solution was to effectively shoot the IP that is actually making you money in the head, and then like, okay, let's do that. That's what's going to fix our problems with this new thing, this unproven thing. That is really bad. That doesn't make any sense to me. And I think everyone looking at that would think the exact same thing. And it probably came down to hubris more than anything, right? They thought that they were invincible. They thought that uh, that Destiny would never die, that they could neglect Destiny or do whatever they needed to because you know, the game, surely the population will come back, right? And then Edge of Fate happened, and then Renegades happened, and then they're like, shit, it's actually over. And unfortunately, now it's over for Destiny, it's over for Marathon, and probably over for Bungie too. But let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. All right. The dog called an ending to that video. The dog said, "It is time." The dog said, "Paul, you've been yapping for long enough." Paul, stop talking about crap. Yeah, stop talking about crap. I need to go walk right now. It's time for you to walk me, Mr. Tassie. A dog's running the show. Microsoft's Xbox to shift Obsidian Studio to new Fallout video game? Damn. I feel cheated. I just sold the first encounter in Prophecy and not a single conquest spoil dropped for me. Is that normal? I'm not sure. Does it have to be like the weekly feature? Obsidian making Fallout after how disastrous Avowed was? I'm not too sure about that. Apparently that's what Jason Schreier said. That's what they're saying. First Office says, Lucky 10 p.m. my birthday is on Sunday. Can you send me a pack of Pokemon cards? Bristafa, you're going through your 4th divorce. The last thing you need is more Pokemon cards, okay? So no. What's good, Fraught Cape? How's it going? I was briefly thankful for the free PlayStation Live content this past weekend. Got my Iron Banner loot and most of the SRL content. Nice. There's a lot of people leaking information, the ex-Bungie people. PlayStation being sued for anti-consumer practices. Oh man, this is getting spicy here. You ready for this, chat? Before I load into this one, we got a big one here. Look at this. PlayStation's being sued. This is a big one. 400 million euros. I'll be right back. BRB chat. We're going to cover this story. Give me a second. Nico, thank you for the Prime sub. Appreciate you. Alrighty. Oh man, here we go. This is a big one. This is a big one, chat. Sony is being sued. This is crazy. Breaking news, PlayStation being sued for anti-consumer practices. Links included. Discussion. This is on r/PS5. 17 hours ago. A Dutch nonprofit. We got Stichting Massas. I don't know how to say that. And Consument has filed a lawsuit seeking, what is this, euros? Silver? 400 million to compensate affected PlayStation users in the Netherlands. This equates to roughly $457.3 million. It's a lot of money, which is being sought on behalf of 1.7 million Dutch PlayStation users in the lawsuit known as Fair PlayStation. Wow. That's a big one. And it's in regards to the discs. They don't want to have physical media. Well, apparently that's going to be, at least according to the Netherlands, some anti-consumer practices here. No discs means no secondhand market and no alternative to the PlayStation Store. Ah, that's what it is. Yes. So if you right now you can go buy a game, you can buy a physical game, buy it used, right? You can use it at GameStop. You can save a lot of money by doing this. A lot of people do this. When I was a kid, I was broke as hell. I'm still a little broke, but not as broke back then. And that was basically the only way I could get games was by getting used games from the store and trading in my games for them, so that way I could at least cut down the costs. So now with a digital only future, that means PlayStation Store would be the only place in which you would ever be able to get your games. And I can see they're doing it for greedy reasons, but it might work against them, especially if they are hit with a heavy lawsuit. Could you imagine if Sony has to go back on this? Could you imagine how incredible of a W that would be for the gamers? This would be an epic gamer moment. If you don't know, this is their post on July 1st, and this got 170 million views. This is the 5th most viewed tweet of all time. So this definitely awoken the hive. And this pissed off the gamers. And yeah, it obviously got ratioed into oblivion with 102,000 comments to 65 likes. Afterwards, they decided to pretend like everything was all hunky-dory, and people still jumped them in the replies. You can see 65,000 comments to 11,000 likes. And they're still continuing this now. And apparently they're getting, there's a community note on this one. Oh, God. They said the PlayStation Plus monthly games for July are available today. Modern Warfare 3, For the King, and Crosscode. They got a community note put on this. It says, digital purchases are licenses, not ownership. Sony can revoke access. This raises concerns about long-term ownership, game preservation, resale, lending, and reliance on servers/stores. Quote, the software is licensed to you, not sold. They're going after them. Oh, no. Oh, God. And they just keep posting more and more. Oh, they got community noted again? Dude, they got community noted a second time? What did this one say? Action RPG Mortal Shell 2 arrives on PS5 August 20th. Sony's sudden pivot to digital without informing partners its poor digital ecosystem in pivotal markets, desperation to erase retail and resale, and executives selling off stock suggests massive corporate instability. This content may not last long. What? Oh, God. Dude, they're absolutely hounding them. Holy shit. It's a really valid point, though. If you spend money buying games and you only buy a license, then you don't really own that thing, and it can be revoked from you at any point in time, which is wildly different from the way gaming used to be. And the younger generation, maybe they don't like care that much. You know, you probably grew up playing Minecraft and Fortnite, so you're like, what do I care? it's uh, it's not really going to affect those games as much as it affects the smaller games, and especially the live service games that come up and die. So from 2028, Sony alone decides what a game costs and even how long you're allowed to use it. That sounds like some monopolizing. Stichting Mashad, dude, what even is that name? And Consument Chair Lucia Melchertz said in a statement provided to WCCF Tech, quote, that is exactly the harm our fair PlayStation claim is about. A price can never be fair when the buyer is left with no ownership and no alternative. Very interesting. It's pretty valid. Pretty valid. The problem is that Sony, you know, these guys, they're not broke, right? They got billions of dollars. They got like over more than $100 billion in terms of their net worth. So they're going to have the fanciest lawyers. And there's lawyers for you and I when we get into legal trouble, and then there's lawyers for the billionaires. And their lawyers never lose, okay? And they are not going to lose this one because that's just the way the world works. It's all about how much money you got more than anything. They'll probably cite things like Steam and ownership of games being digital and things like that, and they'll cite their terms of service that's like 400 pages long or something, and bullet point number 75 and page number 258, and they'll get out of this. Don't get me wrong, they'll get out of this, but the damage is being dealt, and the consumers make up a big portion of what's happening here. And there's there can be basically a trial from this in this situation, but there's also the court of public opinion. And if the court of public opinion, you and I and the community, if we all say, fuck these guys, we're not doing that, we're not accepting that, that's probably the most powerful thing. Like, you can really vote with your wallet, and we can put up as much stink as possible. And I think it's worth it in this situation. That's probably the only way we'll ever get any resolve, or maybe get them to change or revert their future plans to get rid of all physical media and get rid of all ownership of games. Without a resale market, the lawsuit claims the PlayStation Store is able to unfairly charge a so-called, quote, Sony tax. Oh no. Effectively price gouging customers and keeping the price of games high because there is no alternative, no market competition. Again, Sony lawyers, they're going to say, oh yeah, there's plenty of market competition. Go look at Xbox, go look at Nintendo. You can go play their games, even though they do have console exclusive games then, right? So you like games like Doom or whatever, right? Those are only going to come out on this platform. Or Gears, I meant to say. I think Gears is Xbox, right? You get what I mean, right? There's console specifics. Other lawsuits against Sony and PlayStation are also in progress, including a $2 billion lawsuit in the United Kingdom. God damn. What is going on here? What do the comments say? I'm not sure how this will hold up when Sony plans to sell games in retail stores. I don't think there's any law that requires a secondhand market. It's a pretty good point. Yeah, this is the other articles from Screen Rant. $450 million lawsuit following physical media announcement. Crazy stuff, huh? This person responded to that saying, not really. There is some scope over there because even if Sony is trying to sell the games via retailers, it would be a code in the box thing, and all the codes will have to be downloaded via the PlayStation Store, hence making it only store. Plus, you can't sell the disc in the secondhand market, so no used games or retailer pricing competition either. The lawsuit on the UK claimed Sony holds a monopoly by not selling digital codes on retail stores. With the announcement of the end of discs, Sony said they will start to distribute them on stores. It will be very short-lived. No stores are going to be able to carry empty cases with non-refundable codes in them for long. Yeah, that's a pretty valid point, right? You pull up to GameStop and you buy an empty case with a code inside of it. And the code is literally just redeeming a purchase on the Sony store. So you aren't actually buying it from anyone else. You're ultimately still buying it from Sony. Oh, the EU, they can come in and save us here. The EU can force Apple to allow side loading of apps and other app stores on iPhone. A digital-only PlayStation is no different. As such, I hope the EU forces Sony not only to allow other storefronts on their console, but allow for the installation of other operating systems. Wow. Your PS5 would likely make a fairly decent Steam Deck. Can you imagine downloading Steam OS onto your PS5? Sony, the whole company, not just video games, has literally always been one of the least consumer-friendly companies in existence. This is true. We know this is true. They have always been the cringe guys. In every situation, they choose corporate greed over the consumer. This should be well known, and it's well documented at this point. They have a long history of being absolute pieces of trash. People forget that for some time, if one would ask for a refund, which they were and still are, obligated to by law in some countries, Brazil, for example, Sony would only give you the refund after a small claim, and it was accompanied by a ban of account on PSN. Wow, that's crazy. They're exposing them. Someone said, hopefully the first of many. Yeah, maybe. We'll see what happens with this stuff. We'll see if we get any resolve on this situation. We'll keep you updated on it. Just make sure you're subscribed. Crazy stuff, huh? The lawsuits, dude. Oh, that's loud. All right, I might log in and do some Crota stuff here in a bit, but I don't think it was farmable. We did Crota, and I think you could only get one clear. Crota. Yeah, do we got Nether or Raygun here? You guys trying to do Crota? We were just not getting spoils. Loot was there. Ah, I got you. Do you want to run some of that? What you want to do? Also, I think I whispered you. I don't know if you whispered me back yet about sending that replica. Make sure I get that from you. I'm down. Perfect. Yeah, let's do that then. That'll be fun for a little bit. Get some people some Crota loot. Just sweat it out. Oh, perfect. Got that. Everything there was perfect. Got you. Yes, I got it all. I checked out just to make sure. I'll be able to send that out to you tomorrow. You think there's going to be a TWID tomorrow? They did say that wasn't the last TWID, right? All right, we're going to do some free Crota runs, the classic, dude. Going back to the beginning. So if you want some free Destiny 2 loot, join on up in just a little bit. We'll have the join code on screen. We're going to load in. We're going to clear the encounter on master difficulty, and then you'll get to join up and get some free loot.
We land on this painting, where we're saying
Yes.
the remnants of humanity not only live in a megastructure in space, but it's this mechanical, almost a planet, right? This Death Star-looking structure. The team did decide that this orb in space felt too alien, so they went back to a more approachable design of
What
a
the hell?
pyramid settlement, right? The last city that we have now. But this visual, this image
Ugh.
of a
Gotta find this damn tab that's open here. It's playing music. Playing. Okay. Alright. Where is this fucking thing? How is this possible? It's in one of these tabs somewhere. There it is. There it is. Good. Do you want Marathon to take off? I mean, here's the thing. I just want more Destiny. You know, Marathon, it's an okay game, but it's not my favorite game. I would much prefer more Destiny content. Good. Let's do this. Crota's End. Master. Are you a D1 beta veteran? I did not play during the beta, actually. I started playing a few months after the game came out. A few months after the game came out, I joined in. I didn't even hear about the game. At the time, I was a Call of Duty player. Hey, Destiny? Oh, hell no. Chat, jump his ass, dude. Awesome ones called it Destiny? That's insane. That's a crime against the Traveler right there.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Good, good. What about you?
Good, good.
Ready to get these runs in?
Yeah, we're gonna clear it. Back in the old days. When did you start playing Destiny?
D1, Taken King.
D1? Really? The Taken King? That's what got you.
Yeah, when I was 8 years old.
8 years old. Wow. Jeez. They roped you in at a young age.
Yeah. I remember the first mission. I pissed my pants.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was scary.
Honestly, better narrative than Lightfall, though. Sounds like.
True.
Drews does that on every mission he
I'm
plays. Like, even to this day, like, he'll do a mission and it just, that's what happens.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, well, mostly just him. He's the worst of us, but yeah.
You love to see the Drew slander.
The D1 story was a bit messy, but destroying the Black Heart was very satisfying. Yeah, I still want to see what the stat and cut was. Like, I want to actually see it, like, played out. That would be incredible.
Is Nether coming?
Probably not. I haven't heard from him yet. If he shows up, we'll rope him in here, but it'll just be us for now.
Alright.
I've enjoyed this game, but yes, it's not always been smooth sailing. Yeah, the game's had its ups and downs, but in the end, I had some good memories with Destiny, you know? I've watched a few IPs die. Have you ever watched... You've probably watched some other games that you love die. We've all... This isn't your first rodeo. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, dude, that was my shit for a while. God damn. I was all about the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I lived Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Ain't nobody playing that shit now. What other games did you watch die, chat, that you really loved?
Oh, wow. Okay. Watch out for the hole. Not here. Probably next one.
Call of Duty? Call of Duty has definitely... It hasn't fully died, but it's like... It's definitely on life support. It's on like marathon level life support.
Not here. Probably on the next one. Yeah, not here too. It's here on me.
And then wait a little bit, I think.
Alright.
Because I gotta
Yeah,
like lose my drained, I think.
You can pick it up whenever. It's fine. You just try it. Is
Yeah,
it
go ahead
up
and
there?
pick it up. Yeah, you go ahead. It's this last one.
Where? Nice. There you go.
Perfect. I'm at 10 seconds.
point
so
on
I can pick
top.
it up. What's your timer looking like?
20 seconds.
20 seconds? Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. I think I want
I
to
can.
pick it up when you have 15. If I don't kill anything, I think it might work out. What's your time right now?
6 seconds. Tell me when.
Whenever you can, grab it. Yeah.
Alright, got it.
Perfect.
Pretty good.
Huge.
Stop.
Chat, thanks for the memories. Thanks, awesome one. In one more year, Bungie will use defibrillators on Destiny. It will come back. You think so? I don't think they'll ever reboot the live game Destiny 2. That would be very crazy. The code would be too spaghetti. Like it would be, just wouldn't be worth it.
I'm hoping they shadow drop an update sometime.
That would be incredible, but very unlikely.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to let anyone that wants to join up get some free loot. Get some free loot. If you're in Destiny 2 right now, use the join code and hop in here. You can use it on console, PC, Google Stadia, whatever platform you're on. Nintendo Switch too. Join up. On your Nintendo 64, hop in here, dude. Boot up the Nintendo 64. I missed that console. That console had the craziest controller. It had like a third knob in the middle. I remember it was like confusing. You're like, how do I hold this thing? Didn't make any sense. Whoever cooked up the Nintendo 64 controller, that guy was definitely on some drugs. It's good. Frog Cape has gone. I will keep this game alive. It will never die. If there is anyone left playing Destiny 2, it will be Banana Balloons. They will be the last Guardian standing. Free loot. Anyone can join up. We got one more spot left.
Not kill the guy.
They're too strong. Better get in here quick if you want this loot. If Destiny 2 kept going, I would have liked another game crossover. Yeah, what crossover you want? We should have got Destiny 2 X Halo properly, besides the 30th anniversary, which was like inspired, but...
Get him.
Oh my god, there's no way.
No.
The horror. Alright, there it is. Loot is acquired. It should drop and be in your postmaster. Alright. We didn't have too many people join up that one, so if we don't get a ton of people join up, I'll just do a few runs. Then I'll get back to reading some news stories and chirping. But for now, we keep it going. Thank you for joining up.
Sounds good.
Yeah, there's a few collabs that would have been pretty epic, I think. I think that the Star Wars collab wouldn't have been as bad if they didn't try to like integrate the story into it. It felt like very forced and unnecessary. It wasn't a terrible story, but I don't know. I also just don't like Dredge and Bale. Am I a hater? Am I like an actual hater? I just don't like Dredge and Bale. I don't know if I don't like him as a person or if I just don't like him in the world of Destiny 2. Like, he wasn't terrible. as like as his own character in like his own thing necessarily, but him in the world of Destiny 2 just felt weird.
Yeah, I felt like he was very weak. Like that's the impression I got from him.
Yeah, it was just something off about it. It felt forced. It didn't felt like it was inspired out of like ingenuity or like crazy creativity. It was like it's one of those projects that was like, man, we could do this thing and we'd make a fuck ton of money. So like let's just like figure out how to make it happen, you know? Like that was kind of the gist
Yeah,
of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's like if we did this, we'd make a lot of money. So like it may not make sense, but we're just gonna make it happen no matter what.
Like a cash grab.
Yeah, that's what it felt
Yeah.
like. But they actually did an okay job with the execution. Like I don't think Renegades was a complete disaster. It wasn't Edge of Fate level disaster, but
Yeah, the vibe just wasn't there. That was all.
it's a really weird way to start off the new narrative too. Like
You can take it.
they really should have started like the echoes. I feel like the echoes should have led to more like winnower talk and discussion. And I don't know. I feel like that would have been
Yeah.
a faster or a better route to go. I feel like the idea is like the Light and Darkness saga ends, right? And that's like the whole saga. It's all we've ever known. And so what is there left to even care about, right? What is there left to care about? And there needs to be a bigger, more badass bad guy out there. That's really all there is. And that's the winner. That would have been the right story selection, in my opinion.
We will never know what that raid is like. The one they were making.
Yeah. Maybe they'll release some art eventually. We never get old Chicago. It's funny, we never got old Chicago, and I was starting to realize like the reason why they wanted old Chicago, the reason why it was talked about is because that's where Bungie started was in Chicago. So it's like that's why it was so frequently talked about.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
that's where they started was Chicago. They moved to Seattle, but they moved to Seattle because of Microsoft and because of Halo. That's what they relocated.
Oh, that would have been sick.
I landed on your head, and so it did 0 damage to me. It's incredible. I turned 65 this month. I was really looking forward to enjoying my retirement playing D2. Well, now you're going to have to play, I don't even know what, Warframe? What are you going to have to play? Play something.
Isn't there like a Halo game coming out soon? Or well, not soon, but
Maybe a Halo MMO game. There's more Halo games
Yeah.
coming out for sure, though. There's Halo Campaign Evolved is coming back. Remake.
Oh.
You better hurry up.
yeah, I've been killing some ads as well.
You cooked.
Oh. Uh-oh. It might be a wipe.
Oh,
Yep.
no. Yep, I'm falling in the hole. July 28th for Halo. Yeah, the Halo campaign evolved. That's looking like it's here's the thing, I'm not a Halo player. Like I only played Reach. That's the only game I played a little bit of. So I'm not like a real OG of Halo, but from a person like me that doesn't know a whole lot, it looks really good. But I can imagine for some people that have played all the Halos, they probably aren't as interested in some ways. Oh shit. Christopher Bear just gave an update on his lawsuit with Bungie.
Oh, go cover that real quick.
Holy shit, yeah. He's like, you better go do that. Oh my god. This is crazy. Wait a second. Dude, this is insanity. Christopher Barrett just dropped some heat on us. Um, whoa. Whoa. This is crazy. This is insanity. There's no way. What is that? This is wild. Christopher Barrett has just given us an update on his crazy, like $50 million lawsuit with Bungie. This thing has been ongoing for years now, and it has just reached a finale. It's over now. And he had this update to share with us. After a long chapter, I'm happy to share this update. Thank you to everyone who supported me along the way. With the screenshot here that reads, update on my lawsuit against Sony and Bungie. I am pleased to share that Sony, Bungie, and I have reached an agreement to resolve the lawsuit. It's over. The outcome is one that I am very satisfied with. Oh, sounds like he might have been paid a good amount of money there. And I am grateful to everyone who stood by me. Closing this chapter allows me to focus my attention on what's next in my gaming journey, and I look forward to what lies ahead. Whoa. How much of a payout do you think that he got from this? That's what I want to know. Below is the parties' joint statement. So what happens is they go into mediation and they have to agree on both the payout that he's owed, right? And this is from that Sony acquisition, right? That $3.6 billion acquisition. He had a ton of stock in the company and he was literally Marathon's game director at the time. And because of these allegations that were put against him, he was removed from his position and he wasn't paid any of his money that he was owed throughout the course of what that contract was meant to entail. So he obviously sued them, and that's where we led to the situation. Now this is the official statement. Quote, the litigation between Sony Interactive Entertainment, Bungie, and Christopher Barrett has been settled. For 25 years, Mr. Barrett contributed to some of Bungie's most successful games. Mr. Barrett was the original game director for Marathon, and his name has been added to the game's credits to reflect that. Whoa, that's crazy. They added his name back into the credits for the game. If you don't know, he was omitted from it because of all of this controversy, even though he had worked on the game for a long time. And then they replaced him with Joe Ziegler, who is the current game director. So they're going to go back and put his name into the credits for that. If you don't know, he's been working on the game since Halo, right? Like 25 years. He was a part of the Halo environment team, I believe. And then he worked at Bungie for Destiny 1, Destiny 2, and then even into Marathon. Marathon was meant to be his project, and his vision for Marathon was wildly different from the end product that we got from what Joe Ziegler went forward with. It's signed here, Christopher Barrett, co-creator, Destiny, original game director, Marathon. Wow. He has contributed as a co-creator of the Destiny IP. Think about that. That's wild. What an insane situation. Someone said, who even looks at the credits? Listen, it's not about the actual credits themselves, right? It's about sending a message, right? And what he wants to send as a message is that he's innocent, is that he won, right? Is that him and Bungie are, united and that they've settled the situation. Like that's what he's trying to the message he's trying to send forward. So make no mistake of it. I don't think he really cares that much about his name being in the credits as much as he wants to have his professional reputation upheld to some degree, right? Because the issue here, like we talked about before, and the reason why he was suing them for $200 million wasn't just for the $50 million he was owed. He was owed $50 million on paper, but the $200 million he was suing them for was because there's just no way anyone would ever hire him or work with him if he's like convicted and like guilty of, all of this like SA allegations, right? Like that's not going to fare well for him. Like no one's going to want to work with him if that's proven to be uh I don't know. I guess maybe if guilty isn't the right term, or if it's like if there's like a criminal trial, right? That's also problematic. I don't think that he was even going to be tried for a criminal and for a criminal issue, but it was more just that he had broken, I guess, Bungie's terms of service or the Sony contract in some way. I'm not sure. We'd have to get into the details of exactly what he did wrong and exactly what was the outcome supposed to be. But it sounds like they figured it out. It sounds like they came together. I mean, obviously Bungie, they just had to lay off all these people. They probably don't want to deal with this anymore, like constantly paying super expensive legal fees and all these lawyers to, deal with all this mediation and litigation that's going to go on with this. Because, when it goes to a trial, right, you don't know what the outcome's going to be. Imagine if you lose, right? That would be terrible PR for Sony right now. And I mean, the PR for Bungie is almost like null and void. Like it's like their reputation is pretty much burned to the ground at this stage. But for Sony, they don't want the negative PR. So I think settling for them is probably the right decision. How much did he get paid though? Did he get paid his $200 million? Probably not that much, right? Did he get paid his 50 million? I would probably guess he did get paid his 50 million. Considering that his name is added to the credits of the game, he probably got paid 50 million, which is crazy, right? That's a lot of money. And did he get paid more as compensation? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they just like made good on his contract and paid him his 50 million and settled it with that. Who knows? We'll only have speculation unless he hints with something else. And he's been chirping a lot lately on Twitter, so he might actually hint at how much he got paid. But yeah, it's a lot of money. I know a lot of people like 50 million in the chat. Like that's an insane amount of money. Well, like you said, 25 years. He's been there since the beginning, since like the early like grassroots stages of like Halo and stuff. So he kind of grew with the company and got those stock options. And, obviously when Sony bought them out, they paid like a ridiculously high price. Pete Parsons hustled for this man's paycheck too. And, they were able to sell and cash out those crazy paychecks. All those guys that have been around for 20 plus years. Someone said Barrett's money is Barrett's money. Good work. There's going to be two sides to the story, right? There's going to be those that felt like Barrett was doing wrong to them, right? Those people that were, I guess, like messaged to him and stuff like that. Like it was like, I believe the allegations against him was an abuse of power because he was sending people like, flirtatious messages and being kind of creepy and like trying to play like truth and dare or something like that. Like that was the idea, is like, and he's obviously a pretty high up person in Bungie. So there's like a power dynamic where he's up here and, if you're a new hire as like an artist or something, right, like the power, it's your boss, right? So, you kind of have to talk to your boss in general when you're working with them. So using that power dynamic can be problematic to say the least, right? But is it so problematic that you lose out on your entire, Sony payout? I mean, that's literally for a court to decide, right? And it looks like they're just not going to go that far with it. They decided to settle at this stage. And it looks like it worked out, at least from what my interpretation, it looks like it worked out about as good for Christopher Barrett as possible, because he got his payout. His name is back in the game's credits, and that's as far as it goes. Like, they're not going to say in the statement, I imagine he was advocating for, though. Like, I imagine Christopher Barrett was advocating for a statement adding there that says, like, he was found guilty of no wrongdoing whatsoever, right? Like, I imagine he wants that tacked into it. So that way he's just completely omitted from any sort of like guilt or wrongdoing. But, going this is about as far as I think they're willing to go with it, without also getting in any other trouble with, like I said, the people who are accusing him of stuff and the allegations put against him. Some pretty crazy stuff. Pretty wild time. We don't have full context. Someone said that. Yep. We don't have full context of the exact situation. All we know is, from step one till now, this is what the outcome is. And, obviously Bungie, I feel like Bungie lost on this one, man. Bungie lost on this one. And they also lost with that Kelsey Martineau lawsuit with that Red War campaign. Actually, did they lose on that one? They just dropped that one altogether. They didn't have to do a payout on that one. Yeah, so that one's different. That one's different. This one I think is probably the most decisive or craziest one, right? Because he's even saying here specifically, it's been settled. Oh, but he mentioned this part. The outcome is one that I'm very satisfied. Oh, okay. The outcome. We reached an agreement. He didn't say anything about being paid, right? He didn't say anything specifically about being paid. I'm trying to look into this. Like, it's all very, lawyer speak, right? I am pleased to share that Sony, Bungie, and I have reached an agreement to resolve the lawsuit. So it could theoretically be Bungie paying him no money. Like, maybe he just wants to lose the bad PR, but that's $50 million. You don't just casually drop 50 million, right? There had to be some payout there. There just had to be. You can't just give up on that. Surely, right? The outcome is one I am very satisfied with, and I am grateful to everyone who stood by me. Closing this chapter allows me to focus my attention on what's next in my gaming journey. Yep, yeah. Crazy. Yeah, so we don't know, man. We don't know. All we know is it's over now. I was kind of hoping it would go to the very, very end, just because I find that like litigation to be kind of fascinating. Like, what's the outcome going to be? What are they going to present in the court? What's going to be the process for all of this? Right? It's kind of just fascinating in general, especially when you're not involved in it, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's all of them burning their money in their crazy legal dispute. But that's it, man. Let me know what you think about this situation down in the comment section below. How do you feel about all this? Who got the better of this one? And what do you think's next for Christopher Barrett now? What does he do now? He got this big payout. Imagine he launches Destiny 3. I'm just saying, that's fucking baller right there. He gets his fucking payout and he says, you know what? Fuck it. I'm doing Destiny 3. That would be crazy. That would be the craziest plot twist of all time. Truly, that would be one for the record books. I have no clue what's next for Christopher Barrett, but we will keep tabs on him and what he's cooking up, because this is one of the OGs, the most OG from Bungie. And he has historically done some really good work with Halo, Destiny, and even Marathon. Like, I mean, some of the best parts of Marathon, right? Whether you like it or not, like, were from Christopher Barrett. So pretty crazy stuff, though. No way they settled. Yeah, that's insane. Is that insane? That's unbelievable. I have to go back and like I have to go back and read the game article. Yeah, he refiled the lawsuit in January. The problem is it keeps pulling up 2026 stuff. I wanted to go through what is the I need to find the like original post. Yeah, this is it right here. They had like crazy, like they showed like the messages in here. Find this. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, they go through it all. They go through it all. Yeah, this is the big update here. So yeah, we'll read through this. This is crazy. Let's record this a bit here. What's good, Retro Ransom? How's it going? Here we go. Here we go. Ex-Bungie game director Christopher Barrett has given us an update on his lawsuit with Bungie. After a long chapter, I'm happy to share this update. Thank you to everyone who supported me along the way. This was a $50 million lawsuit, by the way. Was he paid out? We don't know. We're going to go through the details of exactly what it was. So if you've never heard of this lawsuit before, well, you're about to find out all the juicy details. Update on my lawsuit against Sony and Bungie. I am pleased to share that Sony, Bungie, and I have reached an agreement to resolve the lawsuit. The outcome is one I am very satisfied with, and I'm grateful to everyone who stood by me. Closing this chapter allows me to focus my attention on what's next in my gaming journey, and I look forward to what lies ahead. So here's the joint statement between his legal team and Sony and Bungie's. Quote, the litigation between Sony, Bungie, and Christopher Barrett has been settled. For 25 years, Mr. Barrett contributed to some of Bungie's most successful games. Mr. Barrett was the original game director for Marathon, and his name has been added to the game's credits to reflect that. Wow, that's crazy. So he's being added back to the game credits, which we've never heard of something like this happening before. So what was the original lawsuit? We actually have the entire article here. It was Sony details disturbing text messages in response to ex-Bungie director Chris Barrett's $200 million lawsuit. So here it is. Sony has responded to former Bungie director Christopher Barrett's $200 million lawsuit, revealing unsettling text messages and workplace misconduct allegations that led to his firing. And you know, it's kind of crazy. We were recently watching this OG documentary of these guys. And in the middle of this, they asked them, like, what are your guys' goals? It wasn't Christopher Barrett that said this, but he's like, oh, our goals are to hire more girls when it's not going too well. The OG Bungie vibes were very frat boy vibes. Not that that makes them guilty of anything in this situation, but, you know, let's just say, you know, there's some workplace misconduct that's been happening, you know, at times. Christopher Barrett, a longtime Bungie director behind some of the biggest projects at the studio, is locked in a major legal battle with Sony and Bungie. Last year, Bungie fired Barrett after multiple female employees accused him of inappropriate behavior. He quickly hit back with a lawsuit claiming Bungie and Sony used him as a scapegoat to avoid paying him nearly $50 million in retention bonuses. But now, Sony has filed its official response, thanks GameFile, and it paints a very different picture. The company isn't just denying Barrett's claims, it's backing up their decision to fire him with a pile of receipts. The court filing includes messages and incidents that they say prove his disturbing pattern of misconduct. So this is what was accused against him, and the reason why he wasn't paid is like 50 million. And because of the loss of reputation, he decided to sue for 200 million because, like, obviously, like, people aren't going to want to hire him if he has this, well documented issue of, accused of what is this? Accused of having inappropriate behavior with multiple female employees. Quote, "You want to be worshipped, I think." Sony lays out the evidence. Sony's response makes it clear it's not backing down. It argues that Barrett wasn't fired unfairly. He was let go because of his own actions. According to the court filing, multiple women at Bungie came forward separately to HR, describing encounters that made them uncomfortable and even fear retaliation if they didn't respond the way Barrett wanted. The document states that Barrett would single out a lower level female employee he wasn't working with directly, start with friendly conversations, and then gradually push boundaries. Sony's response also alleges that Barrett's behavior began with small comments about the employee's looks, but escalated to late night messages, suggestive questions, and drunk FaceTime calls. Jeez. Be honest in the chat, not to this, but have you ever hit on someone that you worked with? Workplace relationships? It's trouble. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone you worked with? I feel like these are wildly common. Like the places where I worked, people were always dating each other, and it was really awkward when they broke up. It was really awkward, and one person would always leave, like, because it was just like, you have to show up and see your ex every day, right? So it never worked out well for anyone, as far as I know, unless other than the people that stayed together. I mean, for the people that stayed together, they were having a good time, I guess. Now, this isn't just a harmless, like, workplace relationship necessarily. This is more like, yeah. So it's crossing some boundaries here a little bit. Drew said no. Of course you haven't been in a workplace relationship, Drew. You are completely unlovable. Like, obviously, you didn't even have to answer that. Sony made sure to include some of the text messages in its filing. Here's just a sample of what it says Barrett sent to women at Bungie. Barrett asked victim 1 to play Truth or Dare over text message and inquired, "What do you think is your best and worst feature physically?" He later told her in a text message that she was hot, despite victim 1's explicit request in writing for Barrett to recognize boundaries. He called her late at night while drunk after keeping her on a FaceTime call for hours, moved down a dark hallway to his bedroom, and suggestively told her, "I can't believe I'm lying in bed talking to victim 1. She abruptly hung up. Yeah, that's bad. That's pretty bad. Barrett sent victim number 2 an Instagram direct message stating, "You are the Holy Grail. I hope you find a person worthy of your attention," and qualified it with, quote, "I'm not hitting on you. I hope it doesn't feel like that. I'm married, but I can be honest. You are the 0.00001 and better be treated like that forever." When victim 2 responded that her boyfriend treats her very well, Barrett responded, "He better, because I would hit on you if he wasn't." All right. That's crazy. They literally brought the receipts and all the messages too. Barrett also sent victim 2 an Instagram direct message asking, quote, "You want to be worshipped, I think? Why are you against that actually happening?" And a few days later, message victim 2, "What are the steps one would have to take to date you? What's the strategy guide?" Oh, no, not the strategy guide. Oh, no. Bro is looking for the What is up, guys? Rick Cactus here, bringing you a guide on how to get a girlfriend. Step 1, do not hit on your workplace employees. Just download fucking Tinder or something. I don't know. Figure it out. Go to a bar. Go anywhere besides your workplace, sir. Barrett similarly told victim 3, quote, I hope your boyfriend doesn't mind if I text you a lot. And, quote, I just worry, like I really enjoy texting you and talking. I don't want him to get the right idea. Later in the conversation, when victim 3 told Barrett she was busy, Barrett stated, quote, I want your attention. So annoying. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. I feel like on a scale from like 1 to horrific, though, it's like he's being a pest, right? He's definitely like using his power dynamic or his like communication channels with his employees to kind of like flirt with them and stuff, which, you know, he should definitely not be doing. Like, let's be real. Yeah, you should, especially if they're not giving you the vibe. It's especially odd when they're like, chill, my dude, I got a boyfriend. My boyfriend is a good, I like my boyfriend. Like, what are we doing? During a game of, quote, Ask Me Anything, instigated by Barrett over Microsoft Teams messages, Barrett told victim 4, quote, I can see you wearing devil horns, and, quote, I have so many crazy stories. I'm sure you have a few. Crying, laughing emoji. Interesting. In another Microsoft Teams exchange, Barrett asked victim 4, are you still in PJs? And is it like a bottom down as like a button-down top and bottom, sweatpants, Lululemons during a virtual game of Truth or Dare initiated by Barrett. He messaged victim 4, you are an artist who likes fighting games and Berserk and D&D and are cute. Why are you not the queen of the entire world? Just 3 weeks into victim 5's tenure at Bungie, Barrett called her late in the evening while drunk and told her intimate details about his personal life and asked her about who she was dating and what her type was. He sent her a personal Instagram follow request to connect that night, which she did not accept. What the heck? Someone said, is this not how you're supposed to talk to women? Oh my God. This is insanity. This chat has lost its mind. Look, I don't know if there's a book on how to pull off a workplace relationship, but you know, if there was, this is probably in the do not list, right? This do not, like 1, 2, 3 points 1 through 10, right? This is the 10 commandments of what to not do if you're trying to execute and finesse a workplace relationship. Which, by the way, in my opinion, as an old man that has real world experience working, right? Unlike a lot of you out there, right? Bunch of slackers. I know you're watching Twitch way too much. Right? You better get back to work, Drews. I do not recommend a workplace relationship because it if you like your job, you're gonna fuck it up, basically, right? And if you're Christopher Barrett, right? If you're like one of the most important people in Bungie, you probably don't want to fuck it up because there's $50 million that you almost lost or maybe did lose, right? Like maybe he didn't get paid money. Maybe they just like put his name back in the credits. I don't know. Who knows how much money he got paid or didn't get paid? But it's like, if you really like your job, probably don't. And even if you don't like your job, having this, you know, reputation or having this follow you is probably not worth it either, right? Right? Like, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it, right? Dear God. I had an experience. I'll give you my experience. I was in a workplace relationship at the pizza parlor back in the old day, and I was working at the pizza parlor, and then my girlfriend at the time, she needed a job, and I was like, in all of my stupidity, being young and just completely brain dead, I was like, you know what? I'll help you get a job. And so I go and I tell my boss, I'm like, hey, you know, you could hire my girlfriend or something. I forget what it said. You know, they filled out the application or whatever. And so they literally got hired at the pizza parlor I was at. And so I was like, cool, you know, what a good boyfriend I am. I get them a job. Well, guess what? Fast forward, enough time goes by, and they end up either breaking up with me or cheating on me with another person at the pizza parlor. I still don't know which happened. I still don't know which happened. And I don't even want to know because either outcome is fucking ass. So now I'm in the pizza parlor. My now ex-girlfriend is in the pizza parlor and her new boyfriend is in the pizza parlor, and we're all just walking around like it's like this is fucking awkward, dude. Like what the hell? This is not it. Like this that was bad. I left that pizza parlor. They stayed. I left, dude. I was like, yeah, this is not it. Don't do workplace relationships. It ain't worth it. Right? It's just gonna land you. It's gonna be really awkward most of the time. If it works out, I guess, you know what I'm saying? But you're gambling big. Especially if you like your job. You're gambling big. So it's on you. And if you're gonna do it, at least have some finesse, like, you know, try to read the room. Like, I don't know, start off with a nice message of like, hey, I don't know, like something subtle, you know, not like, don't start off with a drunk text. That's probably, you know, that's step one in the Bible of how to pull off a workplace relationship. Don't send drunk text as first message. There it is. Sony isn't just arguing that Barrett's behavior was inappropriate. The company says it was damaging to Bungie's workplace and legally justified his hiring. The filing states, quote, Barrett placed each woman in a vulnerable position in which she felt compelled to engage with this senior leader in order to maintain perceived good standing at Bungie. According to Sony, multiple victims said they felt trapped in these interactions because Barrett was a senior figure at the company. Yeah, the power dynamic's crazy here. Some tried to set boundaries, but even when he seemed to listen, he would always start again later. The document also states his actions put Bungie at risk legally and financially. The filing argues Barrett exposed defendants to significant legal and reputational risk. He made multiple female employees who were subordinate to him feel uncomfortable, fear retaliation, and feel victimized by their encounters with him. This impeded their ability to perform their job duties and thereby hindered defendants' business operations. Sony filed a motion to dismiss 6 of the 7 counts in this lawsuit, arguing that Barrett's claims of defamation and wrongful termination have no legal merit. It also states that under his contract, Bungie was fully within its rights to fire him for cause and withhold the nearly $50 million in bonuses he's fighting for. Sony calls Barrett's lawsuit outrageous and claims that the evidence against him, including his own messages, is overwhelming. It argues hundreds of Barrett's own written statements and the direct testimony of his many victims will demonstrate his termination for cause was justified and that this lawsuit is meritless. So now his legal team, this was February 19th. What year? 2025? This wasn't even that long ago. They said this, Sony continues to disingenuously cherry-pick text messages and alleged conversations and make unsupported and conclusory statements and defame Christopher and justify terminating him to avoid paying him what he was owed under his employment agreements. It is telling that Sony does not include the full text messages as exhibits or the full content of these conversations, and nothing in Sony's response provides a legitimate legal or factual basis to terminate Christopher for cause. Christopher is confident that when all the evidence is presented, it will be clear that Sony engaged in a scheme to strip him of his role and the equity awards he earned for his 25 years of loyal service to the company. There it is. Damn, now it's concluded. Let me know what you think about it down in the comment section below. Crazy stuff. This is easily one of the biggest lawsuits we've seen in gaming history. Quite the controversy. All right. Wow. What a time to be alive, chat. What a time to be alive. Holy. I was not expecting that today. You took notes? Damn it, Drews. Let's go, Tony Habison. What a crazy one, huh? All right, I'm going to head out for the night, chat. That's going to be a wrap. I'm going to go edit those videos up and post them online. So make sure you're following me on both YouTube channels. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and everywhere else. And that's a wrap. We had a good one. Thank you to Raygun. Sorry, Raygun, we had to dip out on you, bud. But appreciate you, Raygun. Later, Primal. Thanks for the follows, the subs, the bits, the donations. We had a great day today. It was an awesome day, and I can't wait to be back here tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. If there is a TWID, right? You'll see if there's one. Maybe the last TWID. Who knows? Let's go to Adept Brain Time Lost. How's it going? Have a good one. Peace. Good night, everyone. I left you, Crows, and you got a solo that now. I'll write the TWIDs. Yep, I'm writing the TWID this week. This week at Destiny, like in the Christopher Barrett lawsuit, yeah. I'm going to keep the torch going. They're going to pass the torch on to me.